style, sell with Sue. It's your
Well,
move.
hello. Welcome to another edition of No Place Like Home. I'm so glad you tuned in today because I have an experience to share with you. Yes, this could be shared at the water cooler. And it happens all the time. You probably just don't hear about it all the time because, I'm not one to complain. But I don't always get stood up at a showing. But when I do, you can bet I'm going to talk about it. Yeah, at least if I'm going to be inconvenienced, then I'm going to tell the story about it. So, if you're looking to buy or if you're just wanting to look around, of course, you wouldn't do this. But I just want you to take a listen and hear what sometimes happens on our ends in the industry. So, my son-in-law is all, and daughter are also realtors, and someone had reached out to him. He had a listing up closer to where I live in Calgary. So someone reached out. When you look on realtor.ca and then you can click a button to request a showing. So someone had request to see his listing. And he was busy, so he asked if I would view, which I'm happy to do. So I contacted her, we set up a viewing time, and I met her at this a beautiful complex, nice condo that he had listed. So she came and viewed. And, that's the initial. I'm not saying she has to work with me. You have to get to know somebody, but I always will do my best to try, put my best foot forward and see how I can help. And so I kept in contact with her and told her about some other units that were also for sale in that complex. So she wanted to go see a couple other ones. So I don't know if it was the next day or a couple days later, I showed her some more units in that complex. We had a nice conversation, chit-chatting. Actually, she commented on me. She said, "You are a great realtor." And I had noticed some water staining on the ceiling. She just thought that was fabulous. So I thought that's great. We're in. I'm working together with her. So she wanted to go see a second viewing and another unit that had come up for sale. So on this third showing, I was getting ready to go and see her, and she phoned and said she had to work late, so she couldn't make that showing. So we rescheduled for the next evening. So everything was looking good. I didn't have any red flags at all. But the next evening, I showed up at the complex and it's 5 to 7. That's okay. I'm early. I went in the unit, I turned on the lights. It's 7, it's 5 after 7, it's 10 after 7. So I texted her, nothing. So then I phoned her, nothing. Well, what do you do? I mean, so I looked at the unit in case something happened to her and locked it up and left. And I have not heard from her since. She just totally ghosted. Now, I don't know, maybe she changed her mind. Who knows? I'm guessing. When you don't know the answer, you just have to guess. But this happens, and you can see from our side, like how frustrating and inconvenient that is just to not know what happened. Did she get in a car accident? Is she dead? I don't know because I never have heard from her again. And I can only assume she's changed her mind and doesn't want to buy a place right now, or maybe her money didn't come together. Whatever story I'll tell myself to make me feel better. But this happens. So just to remind those of you out there who, might be listening and not knowing what's going on in the industry, I don't get paid unless I sell a home. I'm quite happy to show properties and spend my time because I love doing that. I love sharing my expertise. But really, I'm not getting paid unless a deal happens. And then I'm getting paid usually out of the seller's side. So it doesn't even cost buyers usually to pay the commission. Now, this isn't the only thing that's happened over time. I remember years ago when I was working in another realtor's office and they had a home listed, beautiful multi-million dollar home in Elbow Park. And someone phoned to go and see it. And usually, if they just phone to go see it, you'll meet them there and then you get to know them. Often we like to know our clients a little bit before we're showing them, but it doesn't always happen that way. So the realtor showed this person, and this person said, yeah, I'm going to put an offer on it. And I guess, when it's like a multi-million dollar home, you sort of assume that people have the means and, they understand about real estate because you're dealing with sort of a high level product. So she wrote the offer, and the sellers were very happy. And we're waiting for the deposit. And we are waiting for the deposit. And we are waiting for the deposit, which generally, if you're not on top of your when we're supposed to get the deposits, we're supposed to have that with the offer, or usually within, a day or two at the most. Never received the deposit. Tried to chase this guy down, couldn't, don't know who he was. Who does that? You He wrote an offer on this multi-million dollar home and then just disappears. So you would shake your head, but yes, this does happen. I have also had the unfortunate experience of showing a whole family of people. There's an agent that I know, and he was away on holidays. And so he got one of these calls off of his listing. Could they see the house? And said, Sue, would you mind? Which I didn't. And I showed a whole family. The sister of the mom came along, the brother, the mother-in-law. Like there was 7 people walking through this home, and they were looking at it for themselves at first and then maybe to turn it into an investment property. So some serious conversation going on. And I will caveat this to say, before I will go show someone a house when I don't know them, either myself or the other realtor, we always do ask the question, do you have a realtor that you're working with? Is there somebody who would write an offer with you if you like the house? And so if you say no, then I will work with you. But sometimes people do have a realtor, but they for whatever reason they didn't call them. So we will educate them, say no, go back to your own realtor if you're being represented. So I say all that just to let you know this family had said they don't have a realtor. So I thought they were quite interested. We left, we went home. I did a little market evaluation of what sold on that street just to give them some numbers and comparison. And then the realtor on this place texts me and lets me know they just submitted an offer with another agent, with their own agent, who, for whatever reason, couldn't be bothered or didn't have the time or was double booked and couldn't show them this place. And they lied to us to get in and then did this lowball offer. Sure, if you do have your own realtor, but he can't show you, she can't show you, and you need to get in and see the place, at least you should be honest about it. And then we're all on a level playing field. I'm not being misguided or misled to believe something that is not true. And honestly, if I'm your realtor and you need to go see a house and you're serious about it, I want to see that house with you. I'm not going to write an offer on a property I haven't even had a look at. And if it's absolutely impossible, I will have a good conversation with that listing realtor. So, I'm not sure why this realtor would just write an offer when he hadn't even seen the property himself. As a licensed agent, if I want to be able to represent you properly, and see you all the way through a deal, I need to know everything about that property. I need to see it with my own eyes. Otherwise, how can I represent you properly? One time, I'll never forget this. I was working in a real estate office and they had a beautiful home listed in South Calgary, a little over 1 million. And so here's the other side of the coin. Somebody phoned to come and see the house. She showed the home to this person and they wrote an offer on it. They submitted the deposit. And just like that, the house was sold. So it's really impossible for us to tell on the beginning side of things who is going to buy a house, who's a real potential customer, and who isn't. who's just looking around with no serious intentions, which is totally fine. You can do that. Then you can go and see open houses. That's when we open the doors to a house and say, come on in, have a look, no obligation, just enjoy. And sometimes people do their research that way for months before they buy a house. So, one thing I have implemented in my own process is that if I don't know you, and you're coming in, especially if you're coming in alone with someone, I'm going to ask to see your driver's license before I show you the house. This hopefully keeps me safe, and I can gauge by your reaction, what your intentions are too. I have never had pushback from doing this, maybe a bit of hesitation, like, oh, okay, but it's usually the buyers go, yeah, that makes sense. And so, I have to protect myself. There have been assaults on realtors in homes. There have been agents murdered. So, all of this goes on in the back of the minds of the realtor who's meeting a potential buyer for the first time. I tell you all this because then it helps you see from our side all of the things we try to protect ourselves, protect our time. You know how we get paid. We don't want to just go out and potentially not get paid for all of the time. Any realtor, yes, can let you in the door. But from our end, now you can see maybe how careful we need to be. And the funny thing is, it doesn't cost a buyer anything more to have their own realtor. Choose somebody, interview some, and find someone who you respect, who you like, who's going to give you a fun time. Maybe someone who's going to send you a playlist while you're shopping around for homes, bring you some refreshments. You can choose such a great agent to come and make the experience enjoyable. Also, have a look through a realtor's eyes, make sure that everything they see in the house that they can advise you. And also, most realtors, we have great resources, home inspectors, lawyers, people that we know we've vetted out, we have worked with before, and they know their stuff. So we're really taking care of you, and it costs you no more. Let me share with you the story of a single dad who I met just like this. He was what we call in the industry a sign call. He just called off of a listing. And I met this man I had never met before at a house. I asked him, do you have a driver's license? Because I want to see if the name you gave me is the name on your license. Yes, he pulled it out. It was the same name. So we went and saw the house. It wasn't for him. Okay. So at this point, that's fine. He's just looking and we don't really know each other. I might give him some, marketing material, my buyer guide, and I let him know if he wants my help, I would love to help him and work with him, but it's totally his choice. So a little while later, there was a house he wanted to see again, and he reached out. So now I'm going to have the conversation with him about representing because as a realtor, we're not really supposed to give you all of our advice and advice on prices if we're not representing you and working with you. And you're welcome to just be a customer and we can just facilitate the transaction. But if you want someone to get to know you and advocate on your behalf, now I'm going to be representing you. So we looked all over for places over several months. He had a 12-year-old son, so he was looking for something in a great neighborhood for him, something that he could get to work easily. And so finally, we found the one. Now, the nice thing for me is I'd seen all the other houses we had looked at. I had something to compare it to. And so in this case, I'm able to advise. You see how this is different. You see how this is better. He really was getting way more house for the money. We had gone just a little bit out of the core of downtown. And of course, you can get more house, a little bit bigger of a yard. They had dogs, so we start having discussions about all of this. Then I'm able to negotiate on his behalf. I'm able to manage the documents, make sure everything is up to date, that it is the proper legal forms that we're using, to stay in touch with lawyers, make sure that his mortgage broker is in touch. And now they are loving the home. They have fallen in love with the community. It was even better than what they thought at the time. And One day, when he does decide to retire and go sailing off onto Vancouver Island, I will be there to sell the house for him. I know the house and I've gotten to know the family a little bit. So to me, that is an ideal way that this kind of relationship can work when you find someone that you enjoy working with. Okay, well, that's my story about being stood up. Have you ever been stood up? Do you remember what it was like? Have you ever stood somebody up? Hey, call them, let them know what happened. And I will wrap this up. This episode, of course, as always, is on the house. And if you need any help with your house, with looking at what it might be worth right now, getting ready to sell it, or if you're looking for something new to buy, maybe it's been a change of life for you. Maybe the seasons are changing. Please reach out and connect. I'm here to help. Bye for now.